Hi everyone, and welcome to the Mythea Online Introduction Series. In this video, we'll be going over the Thievery tab and the way that thieves and thievery operations work in the world of Mythea. They have some similarities to Mystic Ops and spellcasting, but they're also quite different in a lot of ways too. We will start by covering Intelligence Ops, and then we'll move into the offensive ops such as Stealing and Black Ops. Starting kind of generally, stealth operations in general will cost a little bit of stealth to cast. And you can see I have 100% stealth right now, and I will regain 3% stealth baseline per tick. And there are some races and personalities and advisors and items and stuff like that that can affect this. But my province doesn't have any of that. My province is an attacking province, so I don't really get any bonuses for like spell casting and thievery operations. So I'm just working with the baselines, 3% stealth per tick. And I have a modified thieves per acre, that's this mod TPA metric, of 1.5. And similar to mystics, this number will be compared against my target to determine the success rate of operations against that province. Now, starting with intelligence ops, I can select an infiltrate operation and I can target this province. And we can see that my modified TPA is being compared against theirs, and I have a 74% success chance on this operation. Now, the infiltrate operation will report to me the strength of my enemy's guild. This will let me know what their thieves per acre is and how many thieves they have. So we'll go ahead and give this a try. And we can see that they appear to have about 3,000 thieves deployed across their lands, which will then be converted into a thief per acre number, which will then determine how easy or difficult it is to conduct ops against them. Now, we'll cover this when we get to Stealing and Black Ops, but one of the ways that Thievery differs from Mystics is that when you're doing offensive ops, so intelligence ops, this doesn't apply to, but it will apply to offensive operations, where I get to select the number of thieves I want to send on an operation. Now, Mythea is nice where it will give me a calculation to show me the optimum number of thieves to bring back resources from them based on how many resources this province has. The more resources they have that I'm trying to steal, the more thieves I'll need to send to bring back the optimal amount. There is a cap, and if I were to send more thieves than the cap, I would not bring back any more. I would just stand to lose more thieves on an operation. Which is one of the other ways that Thievery differs from Mystics. When you send thieves on an operation, if the operation fails, and even sometimes when it succeeds, you will lose some of the thieves that you sent on that operation. And there are ways in the game, there are items and advisors and spells in the game that can make your thief losses extremely high on failures. So this is why if you are a thievery-oriented province, you want a building called Thieves' Dens. Thieves' Dens are very important because they reduce the thief losses on operations up to, I believe, 95%. Let's actually see what the cap is here. So it's 95% thief losses if you were to have 337%. If you were to have the capped number of buildings, you could reduce your losses up to 95%. And these buildings also increase your modified thieves per acre, making it easier to land operations against provinces. So if you are planning on doing any type of thievery ops, it's a very good idea to have thieves' dens. So the more thieves you send on an operation up to the cap, the better results you'll have on that operation. This applies to stealing operations. So if I wanted to steal or steal their gold, it'll tell me because they have less gold than they have food, so I need to send fewer thieves to steal the optimum amount. So that's how this works for stealing operations. You can send a certain number of thieves to bring back a certain portion of their resources. It'll cost you some stealth, and then if you fail, you stand to lose some of these almost 1,100 thieves that you send. But then when we get into Black Ops, specifically operations like Night Strike and Incite Riots. The Night Strike operation is super common. It's a very powerful operation that just destroys a portion of the enemy's military. And the more thieves that you send on this operation, the more military you will destroy. So it's a very powerful operation, but you can only really leverage it when you get to very, very high numbers of thieves. And on that note, another difference between thievery and mystics is that where mystics require wizards, which are generated through your guilds, thieves are actually trained as part of your military. So you can see this here. So thieves are actually a lot easier to come by than wizards. Wizards take a long time to get a lot of, and you need to put a lot of focus into pumping wizards throughout the age, but thieves can just be trained. So it's pretty easy to amass a huge number of thieves if you wanted to. Just keep in mind that it will come at the cost of your offensive military units and your defensive military units. So there you need to have a balance between having enough thieves to not be completely vulnerable against enemy thieves, but then also not too many thieves that you don't have a good way of defending your province against enemy military. So there is a balance to be struck there, unless you are a rogue, like specifically dedicated to being your kingdom's thief. Then you do want to have an extreme number of thieves in that case. But again, not so many that every province of Mythea can attack you and you're vulnerable because you have no defense. So that is an overview of thieves. So for Black Ops, again, the Night Strike operation is a good example of this. You can deal more damage by sending more thieves. And this is why it's a good idea to have lots of thieves' dens if you're going to be this type of province. Because once you start sending lots and lots of thieves on operations, you can watch your thief pool just evaporate over a series of operations if you're not careful. And then again, for an operation like Incite Riots, this is a duration spell that reduces a province's income. The duration of this operation will be determined by how many thieves you send on the operation. So the more thieves you send, the longer duration the spell will be, or the operation will be. So this has been an overview of thievery. Between the different thievery and mystic ops, you can take every form of intel against a province. The infiltrate operation will show you how many thieves they have. The survey operation will give you insight into their buildings. So you can see here, the survey operation is showing me how many % homes this province has, kind of all of their buildings. And then it'll also show me if they have any buildings incoming, like what kinds of buildings those are. And this is super useful when you're keeping an eye on a potential war opponent or a kingdom that is attacking you. You can kind of monitor their build, and are they getting ready to go all out against you? Are they dumping all of their economy buildings like banks and such in favor of military buildings? Then you know that they're about to come after you. So routinely taking intel on kingdoms you are watching is very important to reacting to what they're doing and also planning your own next moves. So that is the survey operation. You have the spy on military, which is pretty self-explanatory. This will show you their military tab. So this will show you a breakdown of what types of military units they have, and then also if they have any militaries out on attacks, and for how long those military units will be away from their province. And then, of course, we have Spy on Sciences, which will show you. So in this case, we actually failed, so we'll try again. And we failed. Oh, that we actually succeeded this time. This will just show you a breakdown of what types of science this province has, how they're allocated, and then if they have any science that they're currently researching. So we use Thievery Ops and we use Mystic Ops, we use all of these intelligence operations to gain intel on enemy kingdoms, enemy provinces, to see how they're built, what they're doing, do they have any weaknesses, did they forget to build a certain important building, are they in an economy build right now, or are they gearing up for combat builds? You can also use Thievery Ops again to control resources. This is especially important in war. If you do a good job of controlling enemy resources, so Rob the Towers steals runes from an enemy province, and you can use this to deplete a kingdom's rune supply. And if you remember from the Mystics video, that means they cannot cast spells against you. So if you have really good control over their resources, it just really limits what they're able to do to you. And it's a good way to protect your kingdom, is to focus on controlling resources. And then Black Ops, again, these are the more specific and targeted operations. This is a lot of these ops you'll use if you have like a very specific province in the enemy kingdom that you just want to bring down. This is where a lot of these Black Ops come in. And then you can also just kind of blanket the enemy kingdom in riots, which will reduce the entire kingdom's income and economy, which is really good. So this is kind of all the things you can do with the thievery and intelligence operations to gain an advantage for yourself and for your kingdom. In future videos, we will cover the combat tab and military attacks, and then some general tips on managing your province both in war and out of war, and some different playstyles that you can use throughout the age to make your province as strong as possible. So once again, thank you for watching, and we'll see you in the next video.